We got Jared Gordon back here on the program. Is going to be taking on Joaquim Silva at UFC on Fox 31 on December 15th. Jared, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, James?
I'm doing fantastic. It's good to talk to you again. We were kind of joking off air that we've actually run into each other a few times over the last couple months just in Vegas. You've been cornering a lot of guys. How has that been, just getting to, help your teammates out and getting a little bit of frequent flyer miles in the process?
It's good, man. It's always nice to be around the fight scene and be at the UFC events and show face and like when your teammates, especially like the high level guys, are asking you to come along with them. Probably it tells me that I must be doing something right if they want me around. So it's always good, and obviously it's good to show face to all the UFC uh, brass and stuff like that. So it's been good.
That's great, man. Of course, the thing I know you've been pushing for over the last couple of months has been fighting down at featherweight. I know you even did a test cut and all that, but I noticed this fight is at lightweight. What's the reason this fight is at 155? Because it looked like you wanted to go back down to featherweight.
Yeah, so the UFC and the UFC Performance Institute actually they gave me the go ahead to go back down to featherweight, and they were going to support me in the process. But then I moved to Milwaukee, and I started training at Rufus Sport, and Duke Rufus, my head coach, was like, "Nope, I don't want you cutting all the weight." So after doing all that, the mock weight cut, and basically like begging to get back down to 45. Turns out that I'm staying at 55. So, but hey, you know what? He's a legendary coach for a reason, and he probably knows what's best for me. So I just went along with it.
And good news, I mean, Thanksgiving's coming up this weekend. Don't have to eat smaller portions, right? Because you don't have to cut those extra
Um,
15 pounds.
well, I actually plan on doing like a fast. Like I'm gonna fast for like the 24 hours before. So I really am not like worried about putting on any weight. I want to do a couple workouts in between. So I'll be able to at least earn a little bit of a dinner.
It's so funny. I just talked to another fighter who said they're doing the exact same thing for Thanksgiving. They're going to eat Thanksgiving and then they're just going to fast and let the body sort of reset. That intermittent fasting really works. I've done it myself. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I've done it a couple times, but I mean, it just makes sense. If you don't eat food or if you stop eating, you're gonna lose a little weight. So it
Okay.
just makes sense.
Did you want to fight a little bit sooner than this? I know obviously you were figuring out which weight class it would be at, but were you looking to fight sooner, or was it just a matter you were so busy cornering that you maybe wanted a bit more time off?
No, it had nothing to do with cornering. It was all because so I mean, I fought in February, and then they gave me the go ahead, like official, like go ahead to go down May 26th, I believe it was. They were going to officially move me down. So I had moved to Milwaukee May 6th, and then um, they decided, my Duke decided that he wanted me at 55. So I could have fought at lightweight already. They said if I want to fight at lightweight, they could have get me a fight. But at the time, I was looking to fight at 45. So they were like, but if he wants to fight at 45, he's gonna have to wait a little bit because I guess the division was like stalled at that time for whatever reason. They must have had a lot of fights booked or something like that. So then, being that I moved to Milwaukee and I was learning a whole new system of training, it was good anyways for me to soak up the new knowledge and not just, I could go anywhere for a month and a half, 2 months, and get a fight lined up and fight, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to really learn much in that time period. So, I've been there for a solid 7 months now, I think. So I've definitely absorbed a lot of what they're teaching me, and so I'm sure it's for the better, and it's great that I'm fighting in Milwaukee, so I don't have to travel, I don't got to spend extra money, and so it seems like everything is working out the way it should.
Yeah, and a lot of teammates on your card as well, which is great. I know Gerald Mershart's on there fighting, and it's good, when you have a couple guys that are also on the card as well to kind of boost up the morale and all that. But let's talk about your opponent here, Joaquim Silva, 10-1 record. That looks great, but I mean, you fought some really tough guys in your career. How do you feel like you match up against him?
He's actually 10-2 for some
Okay.
reason. Like, some of the records say, but whatever. That doesn't really mean much. I mean, I think that uh, he's a tough guy. He's not someone that you could just, you know, look past. He's had some decent opposition that he's faced. He's 3-1 in the UFC, and he was on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, I think. So he definitely has experience. He's a strong guy. He's pretty quick. But I think like stylistically, it works really well for me. The matchup. He's more of like a runner where I am trying to come forward and beat you up and take you down. So it definitely poses some problems, like as far as executing my game plan. But it's nothing I've never seen. Even before I got to Rufus Sport, I was still training with guys that were monsters, and I was 14-2 before I got there. So I basically seen everything that you're gonna see in a fight. Um, but yeah, it's nothing. He does nothing that I've never seen, but he's still a tough opponent, and I respect him, and I'm just gonna do what I do and get the job done.
As far as training partners, I imagine guys like, Emmanuel Sanchez, who just fought this weekend, Rafion Stotts, Nate Jennerman, guys like that as far as bodies in the gym right now?
Yeah. Obviously Anthony's been out of the gym, but I was training for weeks and months with him before his fight. Uh, Rafian, yeah, Manny just fought. I was training for a long time with him. John McDessie's in the room. He's fighting the week before me, so he's been a major training partner. Bilal Muhammad, even though he's a 170 pounder, he's definitely bigger than me, but not by much. So I train a lot with him, and we mix it up a lot. We have a lot of other guys in the gym that aren't as well known. Josh Marsh, he's been a big training partner for me, and I think that all these guys have better qualities than my opponent does. So I mean, no matter what, you go to Rufus Ford and you want some rounds, you're gonna get them. So
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up Josh Marsh. I actually just spoke to his opponent yesterday, Yusuf Zalal. That is going to be an incredible fight in LFA. Two really high
yeah,
level prospects going toe to toe. I'm looking forward to that one.
yeah, I cornered Josh in his last fight actually, and I was like really impressed. I was like, geez, I don't want to fight Josh.
Yeah, and I mean the confidence level must be so high. I mean, you had some good training, before, but to be able to have this many high level training partners in one room is pretty good. I imagine, feeling probably a little bit better heading into this fight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there was obviously some other things before my last fight too that made my training camp pretty shitty, but yeah, I mean, different training now. I'm learning a lot of new things. Definitely a higher level training partners. So, I know I can compete with the best. So, I mean, I have no doubts. I just have to go and execute.
And the weight cuts already started, I guess, in terms of smaller portions and things like that, even to get down to 55.
Yeah, I mean, 55 I've never had a problem with 55. I still have to do what I got to do to get down there, obviously. And I still have to cut a decent amount of weight. But, like, after, it's funny because, like, when you do your cuts, for me, when I was doing my cuts to 45, and then you do your cut to 55, it's like a breeze. So yeah, but yeah, I have to. I'm watching what I'm eating, and I'm doing a lot of the long distance, long cardio, and so yeah, I mean, it's definitely started.
Who's going to be cornering you for this fight?
It looks like Duke, Daniel Wanderlei, and Izzy.
Yeah, Martinez. Yeah, who we just saw in the cage last week or a couple weeks ago for UFC Denver. Cornering Macy Barber. So.
Yeah, and Yair, and
Oh yeah, Yair as well. Yeah, exactly. That's good. Good to be working with him. How do you see this fight playing out on the 15th?
I see the first round being like a scrappy round, and we're both going to be. I'm not going to say that we're going to feel each other out. I'm going to have to go get it, and I think I'm going to have to wear on him and wear his gas tank out. But I see second, third round finish TKO for me.
Bilal Muhammad. I know you room with him. What is the best thing about living with him, and what is the worst thing?
Um, the best thing about living with Muhammad is that he's like one of the most generous people ever. Like he brings home food. Oh, you want some? Take it. Or like he doesn't let you pay for a thing. It's really weird. It's like I'm the girl and he's the guy. Um, Most generous person ever. But worst person about Bilal Muhammad, worst thing about Bilal Muhammad is that there's a couple of things.
Is he messy?
He's not the cleanest person ever.
Okay, figured. Yeah.
But neither am I, like. But I definitely do like when the house is clean. It's because of me. It's not because of him.
Okay, that's a nice way of saying he's really messy. You didn't think we'd get out of here without talking some Sopranos. I know we were talking about that on Twitter a couple days ago. I got to know, favorite season or favorite episode? Is there one sort of moment from the show that sticks out? Because for me, I love season 3 with Jackie Aprile Jr. and Ralph and everything else. That show still holds up. If it's on, if for some reason on an HBO or something, and I catch a replay, I'm stopping everything I'm doing and I'm watching that show.
Man, honestly, I every season for me is like it's got its own, like
Flavor, yeah.
yeah, exactly. I really liked season 4. I didn't really like season 5. I think that's when Tony got shot by
Oh,
Junior.
because there was like 4 episodes where he was dreaming. I know what you
It was
mean. That
dream-
wasn't very good.
Like I don't. I think my favorite. I don't know. I guess probably because I was a junkie was when like one of my favorite scenes when Chris shoots a bunch of heroin and he sits on Adriana's dog.
Oh, right. I remember that scene. Oh my gosh.
He
Yeah.
suffocates it and she wakes up like where's I forget the dog's name, some stupid Italian name, and Chris is like he must have crawled under me for one.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I sat on the fucking dog and killed him, suffocated the dog to death. But I could probably go on and on about scenes from.
There's so many good. It's funny you mentioned that season. So do you remember the scene where they're talking to the guy who's going to do the intervention with Chris, and
Oh
and the guy's describing his background. He's like, I relapsed this year and then I relapsed again. And Paulie chimes in and he goes, so he's taking advice from a 2-time loser. And then the guy
yeah,
looks
yeah.
at Paulie and he's like, there are no losers in recovery.
Yeah, everyone's like pointing out Chris's and the guy's like, no, I don't want any like, don't judge him,
Yeah,
like
no
no,
judgments. Yeah.
and Paulie and they just all judge him right away.
Yeah. Oh no, that was great. Yeah, there's so many good scenes in that show. If anyone hasn't watched Sopranos, by the way, in my opinion, the greatest television show of all time. I've watched a lot of TV, and I definitely have to say it's up there. So
Voted like #1 television show ever.
yeah, no, I agree with that. And I'm a Canadian, so I don't even have a tie to New York, and I still
Yeah,
like watching that show. So there you
yeah.
go. And speaking of watching stuff, we got to check out this card, UFC on Fox 31, December 15th. Jared, always appreciate you taking the time, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
On Twitter, I'm J Flash Gordon MMA, and on Instagram, Jared Flash Gordon. Big shout out to Sucker Punch, my management team, MHP, my supplement sponsor. That's it. That's all I got.